So this week I want to talk a little bit about um, making a big change or going on an adventure, which I've just been on. So I wanted to talk a little bit about uh, planning um, on when you're going to make a big change or you're going to go check something out, how to approach it to be open to receive all that's there for you and to be open to um, seeing it through uh, your your eyes of expectation, but also through your inner eye, so that you can have come away from the experience, whatever it is, um, with having advanced yourself and in a happy place. So, um, so I've been venturing out looking for, where's my next landing pad? Uh, where am I going to put down some roots going forward in my life and open my practice? So I thought that was going to be here, but this place has been more of a place for uh, growing, and it's just kind of like been college, spiritual college here for me this past year, and then I graduated, and I get to move on. So I'm looking. Um, I'm looking a little more south, but I'm I have an idea. So in making a plan to pioneer out into something new, um, we want to really know ourselves, like what it is that we're hoping to achieve or acquire. If it's moving to a new place, a new house, a new job, um, new relationship, whatever it is, like what is it that I am hoping to or really wanting to get from this um, experience that I'm giving myself, and uh, what is it that it's going to be doing for me, and and knowing the things about myself that I love and that are important to me. Then I look around at opportunities. I don't look at places, jobs, or relationships um, that don't have the things or the environment that I want to be in. So it's sometimes we sit out and we're like, it's wide open. I will go anywhere and I will do anything. But in actuality, we won't. Um, and we're not required to either. Like if there is something specific, we'll know it. But so I really looked at what is it that I need in an environment for me. What kind of place do I want to live in? And what kind of weather, what kind of energy around the place? Uh, do I need water? Do I need, what is it that I really need for my um, joy and happiness in this location? But you would do the same thing in a job or a relationship. So I know what makes me happy, and I know the basic requirements of what I need. So then, as I'm putting myself into the new experience, I'm listening. I'm listening to my inner voices, where I'm going or what I'm doing, resonating with who I am. Is it resonating inside of me in a joyful way, or is it more um, this doesn't seem right or doesn't feel right for me? And then am I willing to listen to that? So we enter into new big changes in the same way that we there's some planning, but we don't nail it all down, so we close ourselves off, but we open ourselves up to um, the broad experience that's there for us. And then we begin to, uh, through education and through, like, I went to Maryland, and I looked around. So I'm narrowing the broad spectrum down to the scope of my life. So I went down there. I'm not sure I've ever been there except to fly through the airport in Baltimore. So I don't really had not a lot of um, knowledge, except that a lot of it is on the water, which was the main attraction for me. I really want to be around the water. I'm a water person. So, um, and it's a little farther south, so it's a wee bit milder as far as the weather goes. And but other than that, I didn't really know. So I went there with this broad um, fan of openness, and then as the week went on, I began to narrow it down because I know who I am and I know what's important to me. And as I drove around this peninsula and I drove around, I really was like, this works. Um, this works for me. I could see myself here, or I can definitely um, not see myself here. Or could I make it work here if this is really where I belong? So it's a process of noticing what I'm experiencing and being open to learning more about myself and learning more about um, the place that I'm in. So and about how that, because all the locations are changing now. Population is really moving out of the cities and into the country, and people are working from home. So a lot of places are really underway in their big change. Um, Over the next few years, we'll be seeing the landscape changing quite a bit across the nation, and people are moving and grooving, and so am I. And so along the way, so I went with a strong sense of this location fits my criteria, and this landscape fits my criteria. There is masses of people around because I need to have people within range of me to support my practice. So it has these requirements, and and then as I'm going through, I'm absorbing data, uh, not from my mind, but listening to my inner self. Like, this is good, this is not, this is good, this is not. Um, and then I'm also uh, I have so so I kind of looking at it like so I got in my spaceship and I launched myself off to discover a new world. And um, I have a mothership, or a Houston. I have Houston um, available to me. And so my sister and I were laughing before I left. And so I was telling her that she's my doula. So a doula, if you're pregnant and going to have a baby, or if you're going to die, uh, doulas are people that come in and provide encouragement. They provide perspective. They provide information. Um, they are completely neutral. They provide emotional and physical and informational support while you're on your journey of having if you're birthing. So I'm birthing my life and my next steps. So my my sister is my doula. And so when I call and I'm telling, this is my experience today, this is what I'm looking at, this is what I'm feeling, then she is sounding back to me totally with neutrality, what she knows my truths are, and what she thinks I'm saying, right? And so the doula uh, in our life. They don't deliver the baby, they don't make the decisions, and they're not there to replace the process. They're there to remind us, be neutral, and remind us of our truth, um, and our value and our vision. So uh, every one of us in our life is going to be a doula and is going to have a doula at different times. And we don't get to pick and choose um, who, when, or what. It's a gift. And unlike if you're going to, have a baby, you pay the person, right? So you do choose. But so along my way, I have my list, my requirements. I have what I know about myself and what I need. I have what I am seeing in this new environment. I have what I am experiencing inside and outside and listening to my inner voice. And then I have Houston. I have my doula. I have somebody that I am speaking to that is mirroring neutrality back at me, but showing me what I am looking at through um, neutral eyes, keeping me on target, and keeping me in balance as I'm going along the way. So it's been really an amazing experience because in going down, I did see great places I could see myself, and I saw places I could not see myself. And um, it was exhausting sometimes. So it was really balancing to have somebody saying, "Hey, this is part of the path. Like, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Remember, blah blah blah." Right. So it's really important to begin to be open to these opportunities that are there for us to receive. It's part of our growth process to receive it, and it's part of our growth process to give it, to be that support for somebody. And sometimes we have many at the same time, each one bringing their special gift into our life, and I have that experience too. So um, it's been an exciting adventure. Um, but along the way, um, also listening to my intuition and listening to my inner voice, which we've been talking about over the past several weeks, listening to that voice inside of me that at 2 points um, said, stop looking and take a couple days off. And so I listened to that, and I had two great breaks of doing nothing but having like a vacation. So because sometimes we get this idea that we're on a mission, that we got to solve the problem and got to come to the conclusion, A to B in the shortest amount of time. But along the way, there's so much opportunity for growth and connection with our inner self. So I came away feeling that I line up with that location, that state, parts of that state. But I'm going to go back and look again because I'm not sure. I haven't found the perfect spot. But I'm not by making the plan, by having my concepts and having the knowledge of who I am and what is required for me to be happy and have joy and be successful, and then having my support system, um, I can go through this brand new pioneering experience and come back and go back again uh, without feeling um, anything but I'm good and this is good and this is fun and this is part of the process. So uh, instead of feeling like I have to go figure it out all by myself, right? I don't. And the support's here for me. Just like it is for each one of you in any big change that you're making in your life. You know, you're knowing yourself, you're having your requirements, you're knowing what you need, what you know brings you joy. And then you're going out and looking at a lot of different things, but they have to have those basic requirements and more for you to know that that is where the right choice for you. Because oftentimes something looks really good, but it doesn't match our core values, or it doesn't match what brings us joy, or it doesn't match what is really important to us. It's just different, or it looks really good. And so we're like, that looks really good, I should do that. And later, the fact that it isn't lined up with us catches up with us. So, and then when we do think we like, this is it, this is the spot, the job, the relationship, then we spend time in our quietness and really solidify that this is where we belong, or this is what's for us, and this is in the highest and best plan for me, or these are the next steps for me. Then we're able to, it's already narrowed down. We've already narrowed it down through experience. We've narrowed it down through introspection, and we've narrowed it down through growing, and we've bounced it off to our doulas. And now we're ready to look at it and make a decision that then is solid and that we own. So in our moving through life, our active role is that kind of participation. We're not just like, whatever, anything goes, or I'll just go and maybe it's this or maybe it's that, because there's so many choices. It's like going to going to a buffet. Like the first time you're like, oh, I gotta taste everything, but after a while you just know what you like and what you don't like, or what's important to you and what isn't, what you need and what you don't in your life. So then immediately the choices are narrowed down to the important ones, to the ones that most line up and match. And if there's something outside of that is there for us, it will be made clear to us. Like, we're not going to miss anything if we're open and wanting the highest and best for ourselves. We're not going to miss anything. If we're closed off and looking through a really small hole at the world, then we may miss what's there for us. So that's what I have for today, and building on why it's important to hear that voice inside. Because when you're going out and about in your life, whatever it is, you can hear, this is good for you, this isn't, move on, take a rest. You can hear it and you listen to it, and your life is blessed. And the process is easier than if we are just running, doing our own thing without listening. Any thoughts from the gallery?
I think I needed to hear that tonight. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What if we don't want you to leave New York State? Can we stop you?
It's kind of like chaining yourself to a tree.
Can we lay in the street and say, no?
Don't cut it. You could come visit. It's 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
It's like a super easy drive.
And I bet it's beautiful. So there we go.
It is, and it immediately warmer. When I got there, it was 84. And then it like cooled down into the 70s. So uh, there's no time and space between us. Look what we've done for this whole year on Zoom. Besides, I'd say, okay, I'm going to stay here for all of you, and then all of you would pack up and leave. And I wouldn't be laying down in the road.
We'll be in Maryland.
Be in Maryland. Maryland's gorgeous. And it's easy to get to.
We kind of want what's highest and best for you.
Yeah, and you know what? Uh, we're 2 hours away now.
Exactly.
And it hasn't changed. I mean, we're not.
I was only half kidding.
Yeah. I mean, it is a big consideration to even moving out of Buffalo, right? Because I felt attached to the people that I know, and but I also know that I don't have to see somebody to remain attached to them. It just requires a little bit more effort. It's not, as easy as somebody coming to your studio, right? You have to make the effort, but it doesn't need to change. And as we evolve and go, it's going to be fun to see where each one of us lands and how we each one grow. And it may not be Maryland. I'm going to go and look again. So definitely need to be within range of a bigger city. And internet. Because a lot of the places I was in were so rural, like we wouldn't be able to Zoom. I'd have to get a satellite card. So there are things to consider you don't think about because we're so used to it because it's just like in our lives moment to moment, but it isn't like that all over. Even grocery stores aren't like in every town. So, and you don't even think about that. But then as you're spending time, I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to live in a town that has a grocery store. But you don't think about it, right? till you do without it. And then you're like, yeah, because I'm not in a town with a grocery store now. And you have to plan. And it's not a big deal. It's 20 minutes, but it's just interesting what you discover as you drive around with an eye of, is this somewhere I would want to be and build a life? Then you look at it totally differently than if you're just on vacation or passing through. So y'all have to come visit. But I'm not gone yet. So this has been an adventure. I'm sure there's a couple more chapters in the book of my life. So
We're all going to show up at your doorstep.
you better.
Surprise.
You better. Bring your work clothes. But does it make sense, like the steps and the process in making a choice in your life?
I do have a question, like how you always say, or you had talked about, wherever you are is okay.
Uh-huh.
so you decide to make a big change, but what happens if you make a wrong turn? And do you look at that with neutrality and say, it's okay, and this is meant to happen for me to evolve and grow to here, or something like that?
Well, usually, so here's the deal with wrong turns, whatever we want to call them, is we determine that they were a wrong turn once it's not worked out for us.
Okay.
But prior to that, I mean, because we don't, I mean, I'm thinking you'll agree, but when we're making a big change, we're not looking at it and going, this is a wrong turn. I think I'll take it. And see what happens. We say, this seems great for me. And um, I feel at peace about it, or I feel like this matches up with my requirements, or I feel like this is going to move, be a stepping stone to move me to the next spot. Um, Even though uh, it's different than what I thought, this, like, I know inside that this is the next step for me. Like, that's not a wrong turn. Um, it's a step. And then we get the next step. Sometimes we need that step to get the next step. So it's not wrong, right? I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes when we don't put thought into something, or we don't know how to think about something, or how to um, go inside and listen, and we make a wild hair decision, uh, and then we can do a reversal on it. Um, you know, all things can be made good for us. It's our willingness to see it for what it is, to surrender away from trying to control it, and to be like, how can I come through this successfully? You know, how can I come out of this a better and in a stronger position? And um, where's my next step? So life is a series of taking steps, and we determine if they're right or wrong afterwards. But because now we're uh, maturing, and we're learning to listen, and we're learning to listen to our intuition, right? So we get a gut feeling if this is good for us or not. I mean, sometimes if we don't have an idea or some criteria, then there's all this questioning that goes on. Is this it? Is it not it? Is it the the best decision? Is it not the best decision? But if we have our value system defined, and we have our criteria of what we require in this next step, then if those things aren't in it, that's your answer. And if
Right.
some of them are in it and some aren't, then we bring that into our inner high voice, and just be like, these things aren't in it that I can see. So is this the right move for me, or shall I wait to see what's coming? So it's a team sport, relying on the higher wisdom of the universe that's within us, our divine nature, tapping into that and including that in our process, behind, separate from our thinking mind. You know,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. And I so one thing I've learned about myself that I knew but didn't know how important it was is I really need a vista, right? Wide open space. So I was on my trip, and I'd spent the day walking down the beach, and wide open vista. And then that evening, I said, this is so important to me. Where I am right now doesn't have that, like, unless I'm on the beach, which is not, I'm not living on a hut on the beach, right? So, um, I said, is this criteria is important to me, but do I need to rethink it? And when I went to bed, I woke up in the morning and out of a sound sleep, I said, I absolutely need a vista. It's my higher self, right? Absolutely, I need a vista. So I need to be able to see out. So we ask, we get answers. We have to, it's a back and forth. We're building the confidence in the relationship that's already within us. And then pretty soon it's a fluid, continuous conversation. Different than our thinking. So that's why it's important to know, like to have some parameters. Because I think sometimes when we're in our spiritual journey, we think, oh, I don't want to limit myself. I'll just be open for everything. Or, but if you were sitting down across the table from, divine being, and it's like, would you say, I just want a relationship, anything will do? Or would you be like, I'm more compatible with this, and I would love to have someone who loves to do the things I love to do, or whatever. Like, we have some idea, right? That's in us on purpose. And then sometimes we come face to face with, is my requirement realistic or valuable, as we go along the way, right? But we have them to guide us and to, give us either we're going to be growing through that process and letting those things go and realizing something new, right? Or we're going to be going, yes, this absolutely is what I need and want. So we, because we already know some things about ourselves, that life experience is there for a reason. It's experience in our bucket. So, any other comments? Okay, so we're going to do meditation, and we're going to focus on if there is something that you are rolling around in your mind, a big decision or whatever it is, you have a need or a desire or something you want more clarity on. You want to hear your voice more, maybe hear the guidance from within more clearly. We will focus on that in our meditation. So I'm just going to stop the recording.